Homestead, welcome back. So today I have a recipe for you, and it is banana bread. Now for those that have been around for a while are thinking, you already did banana bread months and months and months ago, and that is true. But the banana bread that I used to make is not the banana bread that I make now. And even my children who didn't like banana bread like this one, and there are a few reasons for that. So as I went along, and I would have one child that liked it and some that didn't, I started looking for a new recipe, one that was healthy and I could use different alternative sweeteners in it, and then also that just gave the right consistency that they liked. And so once I found this one and that everybody likes it, I thought, well, I better make a new video and update my post and update my recipe and give you a better one. Now this recipe is a gluten-free, dairy-free, or not dairy-free banana bread recipe. So you can make a few alternatives to make it gluten-free, and you can do another alternative to make it dairy-free if you need that. But if you don't need to be dairy-free, if you don't need to be gluten-free, all you need to do is use regular all-purpose flour in place of the gluten-free all-purpose flour, and then in place of the milk, in place of almond milk, just go ahead and use regular milk. Today, I'm going to go ahead and use my raw milk. Nobody in my family needs to be dairy-free. I just wanted to let you know that you can make the substitution to make it dairy-free if you need to do that. Okay, so here are the two tricks that I have learned to make this the best banana bread. Number one, probably the biggest tip is to freeze your bananas and then thaw them out. Now, I saw this a while ago, and so I tried it, more so not because I was trying to make the best banana bread, but because I had bananas that were going bad. And so I just stuck them in the freezer and in a big Ziploc bag. Now I do that all the time. So I buy bananas at the store, and we eat whatever we eat, and then if there's 1, 2, 3 left over that look like they're going bad, nobody's going to eat them because my kids like them to be really firm, and they're starting to get soft. I just have a gallon Ziploc bag that I keep in the freezer, and I just keep adding to it as we have bananas. Now, when I'm ready to make banana bread, all I need to do is take 2 of those bananas out and just let them re-thaw back out. I don't know what this process does, but it does make the best banana bread. So I took these 2 bananas out this morning when I knew I was going to make banana bread for breakfast. I'm using the bowl of my stand mixer because my tip number 2 to make the best banana bread is to don't just stir and mash your bananas with a fork, which is what I've always done. And one of my daughters, her biggest holdup with banana bread is she doesn't like the chunks of banana. So using a stand mixer or using a hand mixer really gets those bananas almost pureed and not chunky. You might get a few little chunks in it, but they're not bad. So I'm just going to go ahead and take my bananas and add them to my stand mixer bowl. Like I said, if you don't have one, just make a regular bowl or get a regular bowl and add it in with a hand mixer. You can just mix it together. Now, if your bananas are not all the way thawed back out, they get kind of mushy, so it's all right. Oh, I lost the stem. Don't worry about that. They do come and thaw out as you go. Okay, so I have my bananas in there. Now you can I'm going to go ahead and add my sweeteners to this bowl, and you can go ahead and use whatever sweetener of your choice. If you don't mind putting in sugar, by all means put in sugar. You can use brown sugar. I'm using a 1/2 cup of coconut sugar and a 1/2 cup of honey. Now the reason I'm not doing all honey is because it makes it a little bit too watery. So if you're using a liquid sweetener like honey or maple syrup or anything like that, I would highly recommend doing only a 1/2 cup of that, and then doing something else for for a more like granulated sweetener. So I choose coconut sugar. It seems to work the best in our house, and I like the way that it doesn't really change the taste. It's just a nice sweetener, and it's very similar to a brown sugar. Okay. So the next thing that you are going to add is some baking soda, and this is just a teaspoon of it. You're going to do a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Ooh, that was on there tight. You're going to do a teaspoon of vanilla. 2 eggs. And I have 2 here. And you're gonna hear some things going on in the house. It's morning time, I'm making breakfast. Kids are getting up, getting their chores done. So you're gonna get a little real life in the kitchen here as kids are in and out and doing all the things they need to do to get ready for our school day. Okay, so I have, oh, do you have eggs for me? More eggs. Okay. Let's see, where was I at? And then you need a 1/4 cup of any kind of milk of your choice. Like I said, if you need to be dairy free, go ahead and use an almond milk or an oat milk. If you do raw milk like we do, you can go ahead and use raw milk. You can use pasteurized milk. You can use buttermilk. All of them are great options. And then I put in my, you're gonna want a 1/2 cup of oil. I like to cook, I don't do any kind of vegetable oil in our house. I like to use avocado oil is my favorite. You can use olive oil, whatever oil of your choice. If you do vegetable in your house, vegetable oil, then go ahead and use that. And all right, now I'm gonna take all of this over to my stand mixer and I'm gonna go ahead and mix it up for about a minute or 2. You really wanna get those bananas pureed in there. Okay, so I have mixed up all of the ingredients that I put into the bowl. It's nice and smooth. I really don't see a whole lot of chunks. Now I'm going to put in 1 3/4 cup of gluten-free all-purpose flour. This flour is my own made-up blend that I use now in my kitchen 100% of the time. And you can find that recipe in my gluten-free ebook, which I will put a link in the description. If you are interested for that, I've never shared it before on my blog. It's only in my ebook. And so this has been the flour that replaces all the time when I've used cup for cup. So if you are buying a gluten-free all-purpose flour from the store, you will know that not all gluten-free all-purpose flours are the same. They churn out different products depending on the flours that they are made of, because it's not just one flour when you're making an all-purpose gluten-free flour. You're using multiple different gluten-free flours, rice flours, starches, all different kinds, and creating a product that makes it an all-purpose flour. Depending on the flours you put in will depend on the product that comes out. My favorite store-bought gluten-free all-purpose flour is Cup for Cup. I will drop a link in the description to that. I used to buy it in bulk on Amazon before I started making my own. So I'm gonna go ahead and add in my flour. If you don't need to be gluten-free, again, just use regular all-purpose flour. And I'm gonna go ahead and blend this up until it's smooth. And I'm gonna get a pan ready to be able to pour my batter into it. Okay, I went ahead and greased a pan. I just used a little bit of avocado oil in a little spritzer like this. You can use olive oil, you can use butter, however you grease your pans so that they don't stick. My batter here is very, very smooth. I'm trying to do it this way so you can see. And you'll see that it just runs out really, really smooth. There's hardly any chunks. And that's the nature of the stand mixer or a hand mixer when you do it, and not using just a fork to mash up your bananas. Now at this point, you can go ahead and use this as a muffin recipe or a bread recipe. So I'm putting it in a bread pan, but you can definitely put them in muffin tins and then cook them for, or bake them for less time. And that saves on a lot of time. My kids really like it when I do banana bread, so I'm gonna go ahead and do that today. But you can definitely do them in muffins, and this recipe works great both ways, which is really, really nice. So here I have it all in my pan. I have my oven preheating to 325, and I'm gonna go ahead and bake this for about 35 to 40 minutes. You wanna check the center and make sure that it is done with a toothpick and it comes out clean. Sometimes it takes longer, sometimes not, but I promise you this is the best banana bread. So let's get this baked. Okay, so it's been in here about 45 minutes or so, maybe even 50. It took a lot longer, but it is done. The knife inserted. in the middle comes out very clean, which tells me that it is done. So we are gonna go ahead and put this on a cutting board. I usually let it cool for just a few minutes before cutting it, otherwise it kind of starts to like sink and not hold its shape very well. You can let it cool for a long time if you have the time for that, but we like to eat it nice and warm. But this makes the best banana bread or banana muffins, whatever works for you. If you're short on time, then you can definitely do it in muffin tins, and that the cook time is way less. So I hope that you guys try this recipe, this dairy-free, gluten-free, best banana bread you've ever had, or you don't have to make them dairy-free or gluten-free if you don't need to be either of those, but it is the best banana bread that you will ever taste, and I hope you try this recipe. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss any videos coming up in the future. If you jump over to the blog, which I put the link in the description, go ahead and put your email in there, and I send out emails every single week with my newest posts and farm life recipes that week. So I hope this was helpful, and we'll see you next time. Take care.